Captain James Walker stood at the main window of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his hands clasped behind his back. The sight before him would have been impossible to believe just 24 hours ago. Massive alien ships, each one bigger than the largest city on Earth, hung in space like dark clouds before a storm. They formed a perfect ring around Earth, their metal hulls gleaming under the sun's light. "How many ships now?" he asked, his voice steady despite the worry in his heart. Lieutenant Andy Brown, his most trusted crew member, checked the screens again. 532, sir. They're still coming through that wormhole near Mars. Walker nodded slowly. Earth's entire defense fleet consisted of just 43 ships. Even their most advanced weapons would be like throwing pebbles at a mountain against these alien vessels. The main screen lit up again. Another message from the Galactic Council. They had been sending the same message every hour, in perfect English, which made the whole thing even more disturbing. They had clearly been watching Earth for a long time. "People of Earth," the message began, the words appearing in bright blue letters. "The Galactic Council has determined that your species poses an unacceptable risk to galactic peace. Your rapid technological advancement, combined with your species' aggressive nature, requires immediate containment. Submit to Council authority, and you will be granted protected status. Resist, and we will maintain this blockade indefinitely. Nothing will leave Earth's atmosphere without our permission." Walker turned away from the message. He had memorized it by now. Any response from the World Council? "Yes, sir," Brown said, pulling up another screen. "They're refusing to surrender. They say humanity won't bow to threats, no matter how big the ships are." Walker almost smiled. It was such a human response, stubborn to the core. But he worried it might also be a fatal mistake. The station's alert system suddenly blared to life. Red lights flashed across the command center as new data poured in. "Sir," Brown's voice was tense. "They're deploying some kind of energy field between their ships. It's forming a complete sphere around Earth." Walker rushed to the tactical display. The space between the alien ships was now filled with shimmering energy, like a giant soap bubble forming around the planet. Their sensors showed it extended from the upper atmosphere all the way out past the moon's orbit. "Get me the lab readings," Walker ordered. "What are we dealing with?" Dr. Lisa Grant, the station's chief scientist, was already analyzing the data. Her fingers flew across her keyboard as readings poured in. "It's like nothing we've seen before, Captain. The field seems to distort space itself. Any object trying to pass through would be, well, torn apart at the atomic level." Walker's jaw tightened. "So they're not just threatening to block us in. They actually can." "Yes, sir," Grant replied. "And based on these energy readings, they could maintain this barrier for years using the power from just one of their ships." The command center fell silent as this news sank in. Earth was truly trapped. Walker walked slowly around the tactical display, studying the pattern of alien ships. Something about this didn't add up. Why go to all this trouble? He wondered aloud. With their technology, they could have simply destroyed us if they wanted to. "Sir," Brown called out, "we're getting reports from all major cities. People are starting to panic as the alien ships become visible to the naked eye. They're lighting up the night sky like new stars." Walker pressed a button on his command console. "This is Captain Walker to all Earth Defense Force personnel. I know you're seeing what I'm seeing. I know you're worried about your families, your homes, your future. But remember your training. Remember who we are. Humanity didn't get this far by giving up when things looked impossible." He paused, watching his crew stand a little straighter at their stations. "The aliens think they know us," he continued. "They think they can predict what we'll do. But there's one thing they don't understand about humans. We're at our best when our backs are against the wall. For now, we watch, we learn, we prepare. Walker out." As he finished speaking, a new alert flashed across the main screen. The World Council was calling an emergency session. Representatives from every nation would meet to discuss their response to the blockade. "Sir," Brown said quietly, "what do you think they'll decide?" Walker watched as another massive alien ship emerged from the wormhole near Mars, taking its position in the blockade formation. "They'll do what humans always do, Lieutenant. They'll look for another way." In the hours that followed, Walker coordinated with military commands worldwide. While the politicians debated, the armed forces of Earth prepared for every possible scenario. Nuclear weapons were ready, though everyone knew they would be useless against the alien ships. Special forces went on high alert, though how do you fight an enemy that won't even come down to your planet? The aliens, for their part, simply waited. Their ships maintained perfect position, the energy barrier between them humming with enough power to vaporize anything that tried to pass through it. They sent no more messages after their initial ultimatum. They took no aggressive actions, they simply waited. As the first day of the blockade drew to a close, Walker found himself back at the main window. The sun was setting behind the Earth, and the alien ships were casting long shadows across the planet's surface. In cities below, millions of people were looking up at the same sight, wondering what would happen next. His personal tablet beeped, a message from his daughter back on Earth. "Dad, are we going to be okay?" Walker looked out at the ring of alien ships, at the shimmering barrier that held humanity prisoner on their own planet. But then he noticed something else. In labs and military bases and secret facilities around the world, lights were burning late into the night. Human minds were already at work, looking for solutions, thinking in ways the aliens couldn't predict. He typed back a response. "Yes, sweetheart. Remember what I always tell you. Humans are really good at finding doors where others only see walls." As if to emphasize his point, a priority message flashed across his screen. It was marked with the highest security clearance, coming from a facility he'd never heard of, deep beneath the Mojave Desert. The message contained just 4 words. "Project Mole is ready." Walker allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had built their walls strong and high, thinking they had trapped humanity inside. But they were about to learn what every other barrier in human history had learned. When humans can't go through something, they find a way to go around it, under it, or through spaces their opponents never even knew existed. The blockade of Earth had begun. But far from containing humanity, it had only set the stage for their greatest leap forward. 500 feet beneath the Mojave Desert, Dr. Emma Reed walked through a tunnel that officially didn't exist. The walls around her hummed with power as machines worked day and night. The air smelled like metal and ozone, the scent of human ingenuity hard at work. "Status report," she called out as she entered the main lab. The room was huge, carved right out of the bedrock. Dozens of scientists and engineers moved between computer stations and strange machines that glowed with blue light. Mark Taylor, her chief engineer, looked up from his screens. "The quantum tunnel is stable, Dr. Reed. We've successfully sent test objects through spaces smaller than an atom. They're coming out exactly where we aimed them." Emma nodded, trying to hide her excitement. For 10 years, they had worked on Project Mole in complete secrecy. While the world's attention had been focused on building better spaceships, her team had been finding ways to skip through space itself. "Show me the latest test," she said. Mark pressed some buttons, and a video appeared on the main screen. It showed a small metal ball, about the size of an apple. As they watched, the ball seemed to fade away like mist, then appeared again on another platform 30 feet away. "How long did that transfer take?" Emma asked. "Less than a microsecond," Mark replied with a grin. The alien sensors didn't even blink. As far as they can tell, nothing happened at all. Emma allowed herself a small smile. The alien blockade had been in place for 3 days now. 3 days of their massive ships hanging in the sky, their energy barrier keeping humanity trapped on Earth. But they were looking for ships trying to break through their barrier. They weren't looking for people walking through the spaces between spaces. Her tablet beeped. A message from Captain Walker up in the defense station. "Coming down for inspection. Will arrive in 20 minutes." Everyone, Emma called out to her team. Look sharp. Earth Defense Force is coming to see what we've built. The next 20 minutes were a blur of activity. Though the lab was already clean and organized, everyone wanted it to look perfect. This wasn't just a military inspection. This was humanity's best hope for fighting back against the blockade. Captain Walker arrived exactly on time, accompanied by Dr. Lisa Grant from the space station. Emma noticed they both looked tired. Nobody in the Earth's defense forces had gotten much sleep since the aliens arrived. Dr. Reed, Walker said, shaking her hand. I've read your report 3 times. I still can't quite believe what you're suggesting is possible. Emma led them to the main testing area. It's not just possible, Captain. We've done it over 2,000 times now. Would you like to see? She nodded to Mark, who started the next test. This time, they used a larger object, a metal cube about the size of a small car. The cube sat on a platform surrounded by rings of strange technology. What you're about to see, Emma explained, isn't teleportation. We're not breaking the laws of physics. We're just taking advantage of their loopholes. She pressed a button on her control pad. The cube began to glow slightly, then seemed to fade away like a photograph left in the sun too long. A moment later, it appeared on another platform on the other side of the lab. Dr. Grant rushed to examine the cube with her instruments. This is impossible, she muttered. The cube, it never moved through the space between these points. It's like it took a shortcut through quantum space. Emma finished for her. A space smaller than atoms, where distance doesn't work quite the same way. The aliens can't detect it because they're looking for things moving through normal space. Captain Walker walked around the cube, his face thoughtful. And you can control where these objects appear. Anywhere we've placed a receiver, Emma confirmed. We've already set up 12 hidden receivers on Mars, and the aliens haven't noticed a thing. Walker's eyes widened. Mars? You've already sent things to Mars. Emma nodded. Small things so far. But we're ready to go bigger. Much bigger. She led them to another part of the lab, where a large chamber stood ready. It was big enough to hold several people. This is what we've really been working on, she explained. A way to move people through quantum space. We've tested it with animals. Dogs, monkeys, even a horse once. They all came through perfectly fine. Have you tested it with humans? Walker asked. Emma shook her head. Not yet. We were about to start human trials when the aliens showed up. But Captain, we're out of time for careful testing. The aliens think they've trapped us here, but they've actually given us the perfect opportunity to prove this technology works. Walker was quiet for a long moment, looking at the quantum chamber. How many people could you move at once? With our current power supply, about 50. But we don't need to move a lot of people at once. We need to move the right people to the right places. She led them to a computer showing a map of nearby star systems. We've identified over 300 planets that could support human life. Planets the aliens don't control or haven't found yet. With this technology, we could start setting up colonies before they even realize what we're doing. Dr. Grant looked amazed. You're not talking about breaking through the blockade. You're talking about going around it completely. Emma nodded. The aliens think 3-dimensionally. Their ships, their barriers, their whole empire is built on controlling normal space. But we found a way to step outside their game board entirely. Captain Walker stared at the quantum chamber, then at the map of potential colony worlds. Finally, he turned to Emma. How soon can you be ready for the first human test? Emma felt her heart beat faster. This was the moment her team had worked towards for 10 years. We can be ready in 24 hours. But Captain, we'll need volunteers. People willing to risk being the first humans to travel through quantum space. Walker stood straighter. You have your first volunteer right here. Emma started to protest, but Walker held up his hand. The aliens want to contain us, to control us, to make us submit to their rules. But they don't understand what they're dealing with. Humans don't just break through walls. we find completely new ways around them. He looked around at the assembled scientists and engineers. Let's show them what humanity can really do. Emma nodded, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. In just 24 hours, they would either make history or prove the aliens right about humanity being too reckless. But as she looked at her team's determined faces, she knew which way it would go. Humans had always been good at doing the impossible. Now they were about to do it again, not with force or violence, but with pure human ingenuity. The aliens had built a cage for humanity, but they were about to learn that humans were very, very good at finding unusual ways out of cages. Colonel Tom Hayes watched the countdown timer on the wall of the underground command center. 1 week had passed since Captain Walker's successful quantum jump to Mars. Now it was time for the real mission to begin. Status report on the seed capsules, he ordered, his voice echoing in the large room filled with computers and busy staff. Mary West, his operations officer, pulled up the information on the main screen. All 2,000 capsules are ready, sir. Each one contains everything needed to start a colony. Construction machines, food processors, medical equipment, and DNA samples from 10,000 volunteer donors. Tom nodded, walking over to examine one of the capsules up close. It looked simple from the outside, just a metal sphere about the size of a car. But inside was everything needed to build a new home for humanity among the stars. And the quantum receivers, he asked. All capsules have been programmed with their target coordinates, Mary replied. Once they arrive, they'll create their own quantum tunnels back to Earth. We'll be able to send people through as soon as the sites are ready. Tom remembered the day they chose the target worlds. 250 planets, carefully selected from secret telescope data. Worlds with the right gravity, the right atmosphere, the right conditions for human life. Worlds far beyond the aliens' control. Show me the alien patrol routes again, he ordered. A new map appeared on the screen. Red dots showed the alien ships moving in their perfect patterns around Earth. They were so confident in their blockade that they had become predictable. They're still watching for ships trying to break out, Mary said with a small smile. They have no idea we're about to slip right past them. The door opened, and Dr. Reed walked in. She looked tired but happy. The final tests are complete, Colonel. The capsules are ready to launch. Tom checked his tablet one last time. Every major government on Earth had signed off on the plan. Operation Seedfall was ready to begin. Send the signal, he ordered. Let's scatter some seeds. Mary's fingers flew over her keyboard. In 20 different locations around the world, hidden quantum chambers powered up. Each one held 100 seed capsules, ready to jump through spaces smaller than atoms to reach distant stars. First wave launching in 10 seconds, Mary announced. The room fell silent as everyone watched the main screen. Green dots showed each launch site, ready to send humanity's future to the stars. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The alien ships continued their patrols. Their energy barrier still shimmered in space. But on the screens, monitors showed the quantum energy spikes as capsule after capsule vanished from Earth. First wave successful, Mary reported, her voice excited. All capsules have reached their targets. No response from the alien fleet. Tom allowed himself a small smile. Begin second wave launch sequence. And so it continued. Wave after wave of seed capsules jumped through quantum space. Each one carried the tools, knowledge, and genetic material needed to start a new human colony. The aliens, watching so carefully for ships trying to break their blockade, had no idea that humanity was slipping through the cracks in reality itself. Hours passed. In space, the alien ships maintained their perfect formation. On their sensors, Earth looked completely contained, but with each passing minute, humanity was spreading further across the galaxy. Sir, Mary called out suddenly, we're getting signals back. The first capsules have activated. New data poured across the screens. On distant worlds, machines were waking up. Construction robots were beginning to build shelters. Food processors were analyzing local plants and animals. Everything was working exactly as planned. "Show me Haven," Tom ordered. Haven was their first target world, the one they'd selected for the first human colonists. The screen changed to show data from Haven's capsule. The construction robots had already cleared land for the first settlement. Environmental readings showed clean air, fresh water, and soil perfect for growing Earth crops. "Haven is ready for colonists," Mary confirmed. "Dr. Michael Ross can make the jump whenever he's ready." Tom nodded. Dr. Ross had volunteered to be the first colonist, to have his consciousness transferred into a new body waiting on Haven. It was a one-way trip. The body he'd leave behind on Earth would be empty. But it meant they could send a human mind through quantum space without risking physical transport of a living person. "Send word to Dr. Ross," Tom ordered. "Tell him Haven is waiting." As his staff sent the message, Tom walked to the window overlooking the capsule storage area. Hundreds more capsules waited for their turn to jump. Each one represented a new chance for humanity, a new world where they could grow and thrive beyond the aliens' reach. His tablet beeped with an incoming message from Captain Walker on Mars. "Quantum receiver network is growing. We're getting strong signals from 30 different worlds already. The seeds are taking root." Tom typed back, "Keep monitoring the alien fleet. They still think they've trapped us here. Let's keep them thinking that for as long as we can." A new alert flashed on the main screen. Dr. Ross was ready to make his jump to Haven. He would be the first human consciousness to travel through quantum space, the first to wake up on a world beyond Earth's solar system. "All stations, prepare for consciousness transfer," Tom announced. "Let's make history." As his staff worked, Tom thought about the aliens in their massive ships above. They thought size meant power. They thought their energy barriers and patrol ships could contain humanity's spirit of exploration. But humans had always found ways to survive and spread, like seeds carried on the wind. Now they were scattering themselves among the stars, not with huge ships and powerful weapons, but with clever machines and brave volunteers willing to try something new. "Consciousness transfer beginning," Mary announced. "Dr. Ross is on his way to Haven." Tom watched the data stream across his screen. Somewhere out there, on a distant world, humanity's first interstellar colonist was about to wake up. And he was just the first. Soon, there would be thousands more, spreading human civilization across the galaxy, while the aliens continued their useless blockade of Earth. "Send the coded message to all Earth governments," Tom ordered. "Operation Seedfall is proceeding as planned. The garden is growing." As his staff sent the message, Tom smiled again. The aliens had tried to put humanity in a box, but they were about to learn what every force in history had learned. You can't contain something that's meant to grow and spread. Humanity wasn't just surviving their blockade. They were using it as a chance to become something even greater. Dr. Michael Ross opened his eyes to see a purple sky. For a moment, he felt confused. The last thing he remembered was lying down in the quantum transfer chamber on Earth. Then his new memories clicked into place, and he smiled. He had made it. He was on Haven. "Body systems check complete," said a friendly computer voice. "All functions normal." Michael sat up slowly, testing his new body. It felt strange but right, like putting on a perfectly fitted suit. The transfer had worked exactly as planned. His mind now lived in a specially created body, ready for life on this alien world. He looked around the small medical pod where he had awakened. Through the clear walls, he could see the work the seed capsule had already done. A small base camp stood ready, built by robots while his body was being prepared. The purple sky above was bright and clear, with Haven's 2 small moons visible even in daylight. "Status report," he said, his new voice sounding exactly like his old one. "Base camp is fully operational," the computer replied. "Current temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. Air composition is within human normal range. No dangerous organisms detected in the area. Construction robots have completed basic shelter and are ready for further instructions." Michael stood up carefully and walked to the pod's door. It opened with a soft hiss, letting in his first breath of Haven's air. It smelled different from Earth, a bit like mint and ocean spray mixed together. He took a deep breath, becoming the first human to breathe the air of a planet beyond Earth's solar system. "Send message to Earth Control," he said. "The first sprout has taken root." The quantum communicator beeped as it sent his message through the tiny tunnel in space back to Earth. A few seconds later, Colonel Hayes' voice came through, clear as if he were standing nearby. "Glad to hear your voice, Doctor. How does Haven look?" Michael walked around the base camp, taking in every detail. "It's beautiful, Colonel. The capsule chose the landing site well. We're in a valley with mountains to the north, and what looks like good farmland to the south. The robots have built enough basic shelters for the first 100 colonists." "Excellent," Hayes replied. "We're preparing to send the first group of colonists now. 20 families, all volunteers who understand this is a one-way trip. They should arrive within 48 hours. Michael nodded, though Hayes couldn't see him. 2 days. In 2 days, Haven would go from having 1 human to having almost 100, and this was just the beginning. He spent those 2 days working with the construction robots, getting everything ready. They built more houses, set up the first farm plots, and tested all the equipment. The robots worked tirelessly, their movements directed by both Michael's orders and their own programming. He also explored the area around the base camp. Haven was like Earth in many ways. It had trees, though their leaves were more blue than green, grass, which sparkled slightly in sunlight, and animals, including something that looked like a cross between a deer and a bird. Everything was familiar enough to feel comfortable, but different enough to remind him he was making history with every step. On the morning of the second day, the quantum receiver hummed to life. Michael stood ready as the first family appeared in the transfer chamber, a mother, father, and 2 children, all in bodies specially prepared for life on Haven. "Welcome to your new home," he said as they stepped out, their eyes wide with wonder at the purple sky and sparkling grass. More families followed. Each transfer was perfect, each new colonist arriving safely. Children ran around exploring their new world, while parents helped set up their new homes. By sunset, Haven had its first real colony of humans. That night, they held a small celebration. As Haven's 2 moons rose in the purple sky, the colonists gathered around outdoor tables, sharing their first meal on their new world. Michael looked at their happy faces and felt proud. This was what humanity did best: adapt, survive, and build new homes wherever they went. His quantum communicator beeped with an urgent message from Earth. It was Colonel Hayes again, but this time he sounded excited. "Dr. Ross, are you there?" "I'm here, Colonel. What's happening?" "The other seeds are sprouting," Hayes said. "We're getting signals from 50 different worlds now. The quantum network is growing faster than we expected. Colonies are being set up on every world we sent capsules to." Michael smiled. "How many people have made the transfer so far?" "Over 1,000, Hayes replied, "and more volunteers signing up every day. The aliens still haven't noticed anything. Their ships are still just sitting there, watching Earth's atmosphere for any sign of ships trying to break through." One of the children ran past Michael, chasing what looked like a glowing butterfly. The sight made him laugh. "They're looking in the wrong direction, Colonel. While they watch the sky, we're spreading through quantum space." "Exactly," Hayes said. "And we just got word from the Mars base. They've finished building their own quantum transmitter. We can now send people directly from Mars to any colony world. The network is growing." Michael looked up at the stars appearing in Haven's darkening sky. Somewhere out there, 49 other colonies were starting just like this one. 49 new homes for humanity, all growing stronger every day. "The aliens wanted to contain us," he said. "Instead, they forced us to find a better way to reach the stars." "That's not the best part," Hayes added. "Wait until you hear what the science team just discovered about quantum space. It turns out we're just scratching the surface of what this technology can do." Michael was about to ask what he meant when one of the colonists called him over. They had found something interesting. Plants that seemed to glow in the dark, creating beautiful patterns in the evening shadows. "I have to go, Colonel," he said. "New discoveries to make. But keep me updated on Earth's status." "Will do, Doctor. Earth control out." As Michael walked over to examine the glowing plants, he thought about the aliens in their huge ships. They thought they were so advanced with their energy barriers and massive fleets. But they had never considered that humans might find a completely different path to the stars. Now, humanity was spreading across the galaxy like seeds in the wind, taking root on new worlds far beyond the aliens' reach. And they were doing it not with force or violence, but with cleverness and determination. The first stars began to shine in Haven's purple sky. Somewhere up there, other human colonies were growing. Other families were building new homes. The aliens' blockade hadn't trapped humanity. It had only pushed them to become something even greater. Hashtag the Galactic Fleet blocked Earth's borders, but humans had other plans. Hashtag Part 5. The Revelation. 2 years had passed since the alien blockade of Earth began. Ambassador Robert Stone stood in the meeting room of the Galactic Council's flagship, looking out at Earth through the massive window. The alien ships still hung in space around the planet, their energy barrier still glowing strong. "You have requested this meeting," the alien council leader said. Like all council members, it was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer. "Are you finally ready to submit to council authority?" Robert smiled. He had practiced this moment many times. "Actually, I'm here to discuss the terms of your surrender." The council chamber erupted in strange alien laughter. The council leader's silver skin rippled with amusement. "Surrender? Your planet has been contained for 2 Earth years. You have no ships, no way to leave your world. What could possibly make you think we would surrender?" "Take a look at this," Robert said, placing a small device on the meeting table. It projected a series of images into the air. The first showed Haven, with its purple sky and thriving human colony. The next showed another world with red grass and 3 suns, where humans had built cities into mountain caves. Image after image appeared, showing human colonies on different worlds. The alien laughter stopped. The council leader's skin turned a darker shade of silver, a sign of concern. "These are tricks. Images created to fool us." "They're real," Robert said calmly. "Would you like to speak to some of our colonists?" He pressed a button on his device. Suddenly, holograms appeared around the room. Human colonists from different worlds, all speaking at once about their new homes. Dr. Ross from Haven, families from other colonies, children who had been born on worlds beyond Earth. "Impossible," one council member said. "Our barrier is perfect. No ship could have escaped." "Who said anything about ships?" Robert asked. He placed another device on the table, this one barely larger than his thumb. "This is a quantum tunnel generator. While you were watching for ships trying to break through your barrier, we found a way to step around it completely. We've been colonizing new worlds for 2 years, right under your sensors." The council leader's skin had turned almost black now. "How many worlds?" 250 at last count," Robert replied. "All self-sustaining colonies, all connected by quantum tunnels that your sensors can't detect. And we're finding more suitable worlds every day." He let that sink in before continuing. "But here's what should really worry you. We've gotten very good at quantum space travel. Good enough that we could appear inside any ship in your fleet, anytime we want. We don't, because we're not interested in fighting. We just want to explore and grow." The council chamber was silent. The aliens looked at each other, their skin colors shifting rapidly as they communicated in their own way. Finally, the council leader spoke. "If what you say is true, humans are far more dangerous than we thought." Robert shook his head. "No, we're far more creative than you thought. You saw our ships and weapons, and thought you knew what we were capable of. But humans have always been best at finding new ways to solve problems. He walked around the table, looking each council member in the eye. Your blockade didn't contain us. It challenged us. It made us think differently about space travel. And now we can go anywhere in the galaxy without massive ships or fleets. What do you want? The council leader asked. 3 things, Robert said. First, end the blockade. It's pointless now anyway. Second, recognize humanity's right to explore and colonize unclaimed worlds. We'll stay away from your territory, but the rest of the galaxy is open to everyone. And the third thing. Robert smiled again. Share what we've learned. Quantum tunneling could help all species travel more easily, without the need for huge ships or the risk of space battles. We're willing to share the technology under the right conditions. The council members' skin colors shifted rapidly as they discussed among themselves. Robert waited patiently. He knew what their answer would be. They had no choice. Humanity was already spread too far to be contained now. Finally, the council leader's skin returned to its normal silver color. Your terms are acceptable. The blockade will end. But know this, we will be watching your colonies carefully. Watch all you want, Robert said. You'll see the same thing on every world. Humans doing what we do best. Building, growing, learning, and finding new ways forward. He gathered his devices from the table. I'll have our technical team send you the basic principles of quantum tunneling. I think you'll be impressed by how simple it really is. We just had to learn to think differently about space itself. As he turned to leave, the council leader spoke one more time. We tried to contain you because we feared how quickly humans were advancing. But it seems we only made you advance faster. Robert paused at the door. That's the thing about humans. We're at our best when we face our biggest challenges. Your blockade didn't trap us. It just gave us a reason to reach further than we ever had before. An hour later, Robert stood at the window of his shuttle, watching the alien ships power down their energy barrier for the first time in 2 years. Earth was free again. But humanity had already moved beyond needing that freedom. His quantum communicator beeped. A message from Dr. Ross on Haven. Just heard the news. The children want to know if they can visit Earth now. Robert smiled as he typed back. Soon. But I have a feeling Earth's children will be more interested in visiting Haven and all the other new worlds we found. As his shuttle headed back to Earth, Robert thought about how the aliens' plan had backfired. They had tried to put humanity in a cage, not realizing that humans were experts at finding unexpected ways out of cages. Now humanity was spreading across the galaxy, not through force or power, but through clever thinking and determination. The aliens' blockade had become just another chapter in human history, a challenge that pushed them to become something greater than they had been before. And as Robert looked out at the stars, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had found a new path to the stars, and they were never going to stop exploring it. The end.